hey, Mr. Thompson, great job with my son. He's real happy. Thank you. Hey, I have the Carvel ride on Amboy Road. I do. But besides that, I've been in the energy business for the last couple of years. It's something I've been doing part-time that's just given me an amazing lifestyle to be with my kids. And the reason why I'm thinking is because there's this guy in our company, his name is Coach Alan Johnson. He's a real big guy, he's like 6'10", and he's just, he's a great guy, but he's $1 million earner. He was a school teacher, basketball coach like you are, but he started a business part-time, just a few hours a week, and now he retired from education and coaching to basically take his part-time business. So do you keep your options open? So I paint a picture of somebody else in that person's situation first to let them visualize that it could be them, and then I say, do you keep your options open? You can do it with any profession that you want. You can do it with a stay-at-home mom. Find any person in Ambit. There's so many stories in the magazines that you see, but try to find a story, get to know the story, and use that to paint the picture in that person's mind first, and then let them visualize it, and then you say, do you keep your options open if it didn't interfere with your current job as a coach or a teacher? And then you show them the presentation. Recruiting naturally. Me being a very quiet person, never doing sales before in my life. In the beginning, I drove to my buddies' houses and showed videos, but then I got people that I wasn't so comfortable with. So I said, how am I going to approach a lot of people in the masses and do things? So I had to come up with different ways to do people that I knew or didn't know, and I wanted to do it totally natural. I just, rather than being like salesy, I didn't like the whole sales thing and getting a rejection from people. I didn't know, I just never done it before. I was a hard-working guy, I owned a lot of businesses. I hired salespeople to work for me, but I never did really part of the sales. So I just did things that would make me feel totally natural. So I was just being myself. And Terry and Brooke were up here before, did a great job. They were talking about how Terry got approached by somebody while he was working in the Verizon store on second duty, and he said the person approached him so just naturally, and he's thankful for it. And here he is on stage as an EC because somebody, a stranger, approached him in a very easy, casual, nice way. I guarantee you, if that person came up to Terry when he's in uniform at that Verizon store working his second job and approached him with a pitchy sales pitch, Terry's a big guy. He probably would say, no, I'm not interested. Get away from me. Something like that. I don't know if he would say something, but because the person was nice, easy, natural, casual, it let him feel comfortable. Because everybody has a defense shield around them, right? By nature, if you walk out this door and there's somebody out in the hallway with a table set up trying to sell a timeshare or insurance or something, right away, and they try to stop you, what's your natural reaction? I'm not interested. That's people's first reaction. So you need to be able to get people's wall, their guard down, to let them feel comfortable themselves. So I had to do things, just talk to people, be yourself, ask questions, let Ambit come up naturally in conversations. That's what I do. I just talk. I let them ask questions about Ambit. So when I'm at different school events for my children, I just talk, I get to know people, and I mentioned before, I don't go out on a daily basis and how am I going to recruit more people? I go out and say, how am I going to make a new friend today? How am I going to find people to add to my list? I want to know about them, their family, their background, their profession, their pain, if they have anything, and how we could provide them a solution. But just do it naturally, talk. And by having a conversation with somebody you know or don't know that well or don't know at all, eventually by talking, it's going to probably come up in a conversation to say, what do you do for a living? Always, always, always mention your current job first, and then say, I'm a school teacher, but I have a part-time energy business. And people usually say, well, what is that? So I help people get free electric and I get paid for it. So what do you do? And they usually come back and say, tell me more about it. When they want to know more about it, now instead of pitching them and selling them, you're simply answering their question. It's the easiest close at that point. Once they're interested in it, it just makes it so easy for you to go out there and get them to at least see the presentation, and then a lot of them are going to join as well. Part-time energy business, I spoke on it. I'm going to talk a little bit more about it. So my son was, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 years old. I took him to the park one day. I took him to the park, and I'm at the park with my son, and he's going down the slides, and all of a sudden another father walked into the park. And yes, I want to mention Ambit, but I don't want to be like, hey, I got this great company. Do you want to join and make money? I would scare the guy away. So I said, let me be natural and do things that make me feel comfortable. So the guy came up to me, and he actually started the conversation. He said, hey, you look familiar. I think we played in the same football or basketball league together in the past. And I said, yeah, I think it was the football league, and we played on such and such team, and we just started talking. So he said, oh, how old is your son? I was like, oh, my son is 3. How old is your, oh, my son is 4. I said, does your son go to this school? He's like, no, he goes to this school over here. And we went back and forth talking about kids and whatever. And then he said to me, and this is what I want out of every conversation, I want the person to say, what do you do for a living? And he said to me, what do you do for a living? So I mentioned, always say your current occupation first. So I said, I own the ice cream store around the corner, but I have a part-time energy business. And what do you do? And he goes, energy? Like, what do you mean? Windmill power? Like, no, I help people get free electricity and I get paid for it. Like, really? And I said, what? Do you ever look for other ways to make money? He's like, yeah, of course I do. I said, well, listen, I got to get my son back home, but here's my business card with my phone number on it. Do you happen to have a card with your number? He goes, I don't have a card. I'm a sanitation worker, but I'll give you my number. So I said, let me get my son home. And I said, let's get together later on tonight. So I got my son home later. I didn't actually take him home, guys. But I didn't want to be stuck at that park with him asking me more and more questions that I would have to answer his questions. So I did take my son to another park. I did bring him to Carvel for ice cream, so he was happy. But I wanted to get out of there. So I got home maybe an hour or two later. I called up the guy, and I said, hey, it's Mike from the park earlier today. We're doing a meeting tonight at the Hilton Hotel at 7:30. Can you come? I want to show you more what I'm doing. Came to that meeting, signed up on the spot. Complete stranger. Complete stranger, became an SC in the business as well. Now I'm in Carvel. It's about 5 years ago on Father's Day. I'm in my Carvel store. And this was actually when I put some hours into my Carvel store. Father's Day is the busiest day of the year. We sell fudgy to whales. Cakes that in the shape of a whale to whale. So Father's Day is number 1. Mother's Day is the second busy. I guess dads just get a cake with ice cream and that's it. Moms probably get a dinner, a show, flowers, and ice cream. So I'm in the store, the line was out the door, and I seen a friend walk in. I haven't seen this guy, John, since 8th grade. 8th grade, he went to one high school, I went to St. Joe's. We haven't seen each other in all that time period. So he walks into Carvel, you haven't seen someone in a while, like John, is that you? Mike, oh, how you doing? We're just catching up real quick. So after talking a few minutes, catching up, he goes, hey, besides Carvel, what else are you doing with yourself? And I'm thinking, oh, this is too easy. This is like a layup. So I said, oh, it's funny you shall ask, John. I said, I actually own this Carvel. I own the other Carvel in a Highland shopping center, and I got a part-time energy business. So what are you doing? I said, hold on. He said, what do you mean energy business? I said, he goes, you get people free energy? I said, yeah, I've been doing it a few years now. I help people get free Con Edison. It's like, no way. I'm like, yeah, I'm telling you, I've been doing it a while. And he's like, wow. I said, do you ever look for other ways to make money? He goes, after hearing that, I do. I said, well, listen. I said, I got to get back to work. I know you got to go home. It was his father's birthday and Father's Day. I said, let's meet tomorrow morning. I met John the next day in the morning, sat down with him, showed him a Success from Home magazine, put a video on, John signed up. John became, in my EC code, John became an EC in 13 months, who led me to another guy who became an EC in 18 months, who led me to a girl who became another EC. So I got 3 of my 5 ECs in my EC code from a guy coming into my Carvel and me saying I have a part-time energy business. Just having a normal conversation, guys. Let it come up. Don't put so much pressure on you that you got to recruit everybody and ram Ambit down. Just be natural. Be yourself. You got something great, and let them talk about it. And when they start asking you questions about what you do, it just makes it so much easier. All right. Recruiting based on 4 different personality types. Now this is something that I've been doing. I don't know how I figured this out on my own, but for years, when I recruit people, besides the scripts that I taught you, there's little different things that I've always used to help me recruit different people, talk to people, communicate with people better based on personality types. And then one day I went to a different seminar for real estate stuff, and the speaker had put it all together, and he used actually sea animals. Some people talk stuff about different colors, and this guy's a red personality. So he put something together based on sea animals, and I said, wow, that makes total sense. So I haven't really trained on this too many times, but hope we do a good job, and we'll see how this works. So there are people out there that I call sharks, okay? Sharks are people that are very ambitious. These are the go-getters. They're super, super competitive. They like competition. A lot of them are business owners. They're big risk takers. They like the big picture. They're very busy. They're movers and they're shakers. You probably know a bunch of sharks that I'm thinking of. A lot of times they're sitting on like the end seat. They'll maybe take their chair and move it out a little bit. They're by themselves. They're quick. They're to the point. You know, and these are sharks. So you're probably thinking of people on your list who might be a shark, okay? There's 3 other sea animals I'm going to talk about in a little bit, and you want to try to best identify which one your prospect is. So ambitious, go-getters, competitive, anything related to that person is probably a shark. Now you have the dolphin people. Dolphins love to have fun. They're the center of attention. They're party people. They just love everybody. They're happy about every single thing. They're very sociable. A lot of times they're hugging everybody. Right? You probably guys know some sharks. I mean, some dolphins. There are some dolphins that I know in Ambit Energy that they're still marketing consultants, but they're at every ambition, every event. They just like being around people and being happy. Right? And that's okay. If that's what they want out of life and just want ways to meet people and hang out and have a good time, that's okay. But if you could ever teach a dolphin how to really do things and make it work, then you're gonna make money and have a lot of fun. You know, these are the people that are in the center of the room somewhere, talking to everybody and just doing great things, fun stuff. Great people, like to have fun. They may be in the middle of the dance floor, they're doing whatever, but these are the dolphins. All right, we got whales. Whales love to help people. Love to help people. A lot of times, money is not their motivation. Money doesn't motivate them. It might be helping people. It might be doing something they're doing charity work. They're doing something for a good cause. They want to save the planet. They might be working part-time pumping gas during the week, and on the weekends they're taking every penny that they have to go out there and feed the homeless. These are just great people that want to just help everybody. So maybe you showing them Ambit about making all this money might not mean anything to them. But if you show them how they can go out there and use the money or do things to help feed the homeless or save the planet or do different things, that's what's going to, you're talking their language at that point. So these are the whales. Now you got the sea urchins. Sea urchins are totally detailed, specific people. They want to know every single detail, every one of them. There are sea urchins that I told them, oh, it's $100 to get started. I said, if you get your 2-3 customers, you make your money back. They said, no, Mike, it's actually $75 plus $24.95 plus tax. It comes to $101.60. So if I get those 2 customers and make $100, I'm still $1.60 short. I didn't make my, okay. But that's the sea urchin. If somebody says that, they're a sea urchin. Okay? A lot of times, like my dad's an accountant, he's a sea urchin. He wants to know every detail. I'm more totally a shark. He's totally when we have conversations sometimes, I gotta have my mom like mediate us by like, this ain't gonna work. I just want to know yes or no, that's it. He has to give me a half-hour story to tell me a yes or no answer. You know, and it's very analytical. They want to know numbers. They want to know every single fact and detail. They're going to do their research. They're going to be slow deciders. They're going to make a decision. They're probably not signing up on the spot. They're probably not. They're not like the dolphin. They're not jumping around on the dance floor in the center of attention. They're probably not. They're probably more by themselves and thinking, strategizing over something. They probably calculate how many people in the room and how many people are wearing black out of this crowd and running percentages. That's what they're probably doing. A lot of them are engineers, accountants, number people. You probably know who you are, you sea urchins. I'm part sea urchin a little bit. I'm pretty good with numbers, but not like my father or some other urchins that I know. But listen, all these are okay. They're all great people. But if you could identify who is who and use some of the stuff I'm going to show you now to your advantage. Sharks. When you sit down and talk to a shark, they want to know 3 things. When you go to meet that shark, he's looking at his watch already. Like, okay, I got to get out of here in 10 minutes. They're quick. They're on the move. They want to do things. They got a lot. The shark wants to know, what is it? What does it cost? And how much money can I make? That's all a shark wants to know. So if you're out there with a shark, and if you're trying to talk to a shark, and you're giving them every single detail, every little single spec, every little thing in the comp plan, you're going to confuse them. They want to know, listen, it's electricity and natural gas. We help people get it for free. We're a $1.5 billion company. It's $100 to get started. And there's this guy, Steve Thompson, who's in insurance. Steve made over $15 million so far. Boom, that's what they want to know. I could do that. So they want to know what it is, what does it cost, and what can I do? What are my potential that I could do in the business? That's what they want to know. Short, simple, and then they'll do their own type of thinking in their mind. A lot of times sharks will sign up right there on the spot. So easy, so simple. I was going to meet a guy, Dave, that I knew, and I forgot who I told, but I said, I guarantee you, I said, watch this. In 10 minutes, my phone's going to be ringing with a new consultant. Like, how do you know that? I said, I know for a fact. I just spoke to this guy real quick, showed him just something simple. It's energy. I'm doing this. I'm making money. I want in. Boom. Because I spoke the language of that shark. I didn't show him a long 30-minute video. I didn't show him every single detail. Something short, simple, to the point with the shark. Shortest appointment. Show them the shortest video. Ambit got a 5-minute video. This is only for a shark. You know, short, it's going to be your shortest appointment, a short video presentation. Show a story from a Success from Home magazine of another shark who's had a lot of success. Share success stories of $1 million, $15 million earner, Steve Thompson. Share stories of other people. Let them know what's possible in this business. Let them know. That's what they're going to see. They don't care about making their $100 back. They care about